thaws. In the quiet, rolling hills of the English countryside, a parcel of land lay dormant, a silent witness to the changing seasons. This was John's land, a legacy passed down through generations, a place of memories and future dreams. But one spring morning, the familiar birdsong was drowned out by the roar of heavy machinery. Bulldozers, like metallic beasts, began to tear into the earth, their steel jaws ripping through the tranquil landscape. John watched from a distance, a knot tightening in his stomach. A new development, a sign proudly proclaimed, was coming soon, courtesy of the local Homeowners Association. He knew this land was his. Every blade of grass, every ancient oak, was etched onto the deed tucked safely away in his study. The HOA, with its ambitious plans and polished brochures, had made a colossal error. They were building on his property. Any other person might have rushed in, waving papers, shouting, bringing the work to a screeching halt. But John was a man of patience, a strategist who saw the bigger picture. He decided to wait. An idea, audacious and risky, began to form in his mind. He would let them build. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The once green fields transformed into a grid of foundations and wooden frames. Teams of builders swarmed the site, their synchronized movements a testament to modern efficiency. Concrete mixers churned, cranes lifted, and hammers echoed from dawn till dusk. The HOA's board members would often visit, striding across the site in their crisp suits, nodding with satisfaction. They saw progress, profit, a community taking shape. They were oblivious, wrapped in a bubble of bureaucratic confidence, never once thinking to double-check the most fundamental detail, the true ownership of the land itself. John, meanwhile, became a silent observer. He documented everything. From his discreet vantage point, his camera captured every stage of the construction, filmed the first walls going up, the roofs being tiled, the windows being fitted. He watched as gardens were landscaped and driveways were paved. The development, now a sprawling neighborhood of 96 identical houses, looked like something lifted from a catalog. Families began to show interest, a testament to the HOA's marketing prowess. The association was on the verge of a major success, a flagship project that would bolster their reputation and their finances for years to come. They celebrated their imminent triumph, completely unaware of the storm gathering on the horizon. With the final brick laid and the last lick of paint applied, the project was complete. The 96 homes stood pristine and ready, a monument to the HOA's ambition, and that was John's cue. The time for silence was over. His first move wasn't a confrontation on the street, but a filing in a courthouse. The summons landed on the HOA chairman's desk like a grenade. The legal jargon, a cold shock against their warm self-congratulation. They scoffed at first, a clerical error. They assumed a nuisance to be swatted away by their expensive lawyers. They couldn't have been more wrong. The courtroom was tense. The HOA's legal team was confident, presenting their own deeds, their permits, their meticulously organized plans. They painted John as an opportunist, a chancer trying to cash in on their hard work. The judge listened patiently, his expression unreadable. The HOA's lawyer delivered his closing remarks with a flourish, confident of a swift victory. Then, it was John's turn. He didn't have a high-powered legal team. He had something far more powerful: the truth. He walked calmly to the witness stand. He spoke not of anger or revenge, but of legacy, of a family's history tied to a piece of earth, men. And then, he presented his evidence. Not a recent copy, but the original land deed. Its parchment aged and the ink faded, but the boundaries and signatures irrefutable. It was a document that predated the HOA itself, a direct, unbroken line of ownership. He then played his video footage, a time-lapse of the entire construction, proving he was aware of the trespass from the very first day. The courtroom fell silent. The HOA's lawyers shuffled their papers, their faces pulling. The judge leaned forward, examining the ancient deed with meticulous care. The air in the courtroom was thick with anticipation as the judge prepared to deliver his verdict. He looked at the crestfallen faces of the HOA board members, then at John, who stood with quiet dignity. The judge's voice was firm. He confirmed the undeniable truth of the original deed. The land and everything upon it belonged to John. a wave of shock rippled through the room. The HOA had not just trespassed, they had, in effect, acted as John's unwitting construction firm. The law was clear because John owned the land. He now owned the 96 brand new houses they had built upon it. The hammer of the gavel fell, each strike echoing the finality of the decision. It was a stunning, unprecedented outcome. The HOA was left not with profits, but with a catastrophic loss and a reputation in tatters. Their multi-million-pound project had been handed over, in its entirety, to the very man they had wronged. John walked out of the courthouse, not into an empty field, but as the owner of an entire neighborhood. His patience had paid off in a way no one could have ever imagined. He had turned a brazen act of negligence into the most unexpected of fortunes, proving that sometimes the most powerful response is a quiet, calculated wait. Story became a local legend, a cautionary tale about the perils of arrogance and the quiet strength of rightful ownership. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more content.